Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Storytime with Mrs. Sims. I am sitting in a brand new hammock that I just built with my mom. And it's so comfortable, so I thought, oh, I can do a story outside because it's kind of cold out, but at least it's not raining anymore. The sun is shining a little bit. So I have my bag with me and I have something inside of it, and I'll give you a hint. It starts with the letter A, okay? So think about what do you think is in this bag, and you can type it into the comments if you want, and then you'll see if your guess is correct, okay? Today we're gonna read a story called Tenric's Twigs. You can see there's a little Tenric, and there's another animal there. It's a cute little. Alright, here we go. As the sun rose over the hill, Tenric popped his head out of his burrow and sniffed the fresh morning air. You could see him sniffing over there. The weather was dry and bright, just right for building. He snuffled along until he came to the place where he had gathered a pile of twigs the day before. He walked around the twigs several times, humming happily. Then he began to build. He pushed thick twigs into the ground in a circle and rested more twigs on these. Then he chose twigs that seemed springy and bendy and wove them in and out, stepping back from time to time to see how the shape was coming along. What do you think he's building? Let's find out. Then old Warthog came along. Look at him. He looks pretty grumpy, doesn't he? He kind of reminds me of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. He could be grumpy at the best of times, but today he was feeling particularly miserable. He plonked his hoof right on the side of Twigs' building. Useless! A waste of time, he grumbled. Ask any of the other animals and they'll tell you the same. And he went on his way. He was not kind. Look at it, he smashed Tenric's little building that he was making. Tenric was upset. Useless, he thought. A waste of time? He decided he would ask some of the other animals. Tenric spied Gray Parrot on a branch above him. Before he could even ask the question, Gray Parrot squawked, Useless, a waste of time. I haven't even asked you the question, Tenric said. Then he realized that Gray Parrot had overheard old Warthog. He was simply repeating what he had heard. So Parrot really didn't think the building was useless, but he was just repeating what he heard. I'll ask someone else, Tenric said to himself. Soon he came across the great anteater. I don't know if you've ever seen an anteater, but I used to see them all the time at the zoo, and this is what they look like. He asked the giant anteater what he thought of his twigs. Strange as it seems, said Anteater, although I do have a long nose, I really don't like poking it into other creatures' business, so I wouldn't like to say. But I have just seen Pangolin hanging about. Why not ask him? So the Anteater said, I'm not going to stick my business in where it's not wanted. Tenric found Pangolin hanging by his tail from a high branch. To get closer, Tenric quickly made a small twig platform and asked him his question. What do you think he's going to answer him? Let's find out. But Pangolin was so wrapped up in himself and in his own thoughts, he could not even be bothered to try to understand. Twigs? Buildings? Tenric? He asked in an absent-minded voice. He's just sitting there thinking about his own things. He's not worried about anybody else. Tenric was feeling no happier. Then he spotted Giraffe. Let's see what Giraffe has to say. Munching leaves way up in the trees above him, it seemed as though Giraffe's head was in the clouds. Tenric tapped him on his hoof to get his attention. Giraffe, I don't know if you've noticed my little twig buildings, Tenric asked politely, but do you think I should stop building them? Giraffe bent down. I've never, never, noticed your twigs, Tenric, so I have no feeling for or against them. With that, he straightened up his head and disappeared into the leaves again. Tenric really is not getting any answers, is he? Just then, Tenric saw Golden Mole shuffling along, looking for food. Surely he will see things my way, thought Tenric. So he said to Mole, "Do you think I'm foolish to make my own twig buildings? I spend most of my time underground in the dark, Tenric. I can see little or nothing out here. I'm afraid I know nothing about your buildings." Just as Mole finished speaking, the stork came strutting along. Tenric put his question to the tall bird. The stork puffed out his chest, looking very important. "Well," he said, "in my opinion, as a matter of fact, perhaps." But overcome by his own importance, he completely forgot the question and began to strut away. He was not helpful, was he? Tenric was beginning to lose heart when he came upon, what did he find? 2-toed sloth hanging sleepily from the bough of a tree. "Sloth," he said, "do you think I should stop building my twigs? Warthog says there's no use for them." Now Sloth was extremely slow. Finally, he said, "Ask me again tomorrow, Tenric. Or better yet, next week." It is such a difficult question that I need plenty of time in order to. Before Sloth could finish the sentence, he had fallen asleep. Oh no, sometimes I'm like that. I get so sleepy and I fall asleep. Who else could Tenric ask? Nobody cared about his twigs? Then Tenric remembered Milky Eagle Owl. He made his way to Owl's perching place, where he knew the bird spent many hours just sitting and thinking. "Please, Owl," he asked, "do you think my twig buildings is useless and a waste of time?" Owl closed his eyes for several seconds, then said, "I find your twig building very interesting, Tenric. You seem very happy when you are building, and you certainly do not bother me, or anyone else. In fact, you may inspire others to build. My advice is to continue building." You think that was good advice for Tenric? Now Tenric had his answer. Humming happily, he went back to his building and pushed another twig into the ground. The end. And I like this story because in the beginning, if you remember, who was it that said that Tenric shouldn't do his building? Do you remember? It was the warthog, right? And what do we know about the warthog? He was so grumpy. And sometimes when people are grumpy, they don't want anyone else to be successful or to have a good attitude or have a good time. And so they're gonna say things like, "It's a waste of time," and ask anybody else and they'll tell you it's a waste of time. But instead of just saying, "Okay, fine, you're right, I'm gonna have a grumpy attitude also," instead of doing that, we can say, "Nope, we're just gonna ignore what that person said about being grumpy with their grumpy attitude and saying bad things about us, and we're just going to continue doing what we are supposed to do." Tenric was supposed to do that building, right? But when the warthog said he was wasting his time, then he thought, well, maybe it's a waste of time. But like the owl told him, maybe this is what you're supposed to do, Tenric, and maybe you're going to help other people do what they're supposed to do when they see you doing what you should do. Okay, so never give up, even if people are telling you that's a waste of time. If it's what you're supposed to do, then you better keep doing it, all right? So, in my bag, are there any guesses about what's in my bag? Remember I said it started with the letter A. And it's something you can fly in. And it is an airplane that can fly. Almost hit you there. Oh, I think I had it upside down. There we go, this way. It's like it's flying right into the screen. That's what I had today, so come back next time and we'll see what I have in my bag next time, okay? I hope you're having a great day and that you get to enjoy the nice summer weather too. I love you, bye.